All right, let's get started. Welcome everyone to we're really excited today. This is our Harmony EDI launch, the official launch day. I'm David Rastatter, Senior Director of Product Marketing. I also have Blair Pzytula, who's a product manager. We're both here at Jitterbit. Today, we're gonna go over some high-level messaging about what is Harmony EDI, and then we're also gonna show you the actual product itself. Feel free to use the question and answer panel at the bottom of your screen and ask questions throughout the webinar, and I'll get to them towards the end. And with that, let's get started. So first, I kind of want to shape things before we go right into it. So those of you who are novices with EDI or who are pursuing to add that to your arsenal, and those who are, well into it, this might be just helpful or a refresher course. So what is EDI? EDI stands for Electronic Data Interchange. It's been around since the 80s. It's used in a ton of different verticals because it has become sort of one of the main ways for two different parties, let's say retail, a supplier and a retailer, to exchange documents to transact. Okay. And the reason why it works so well is because it falls under certain compliance guidelines, and the documents have their own formats, so that ensures consistency and security between the exchange of transactions. So why do we have to use EDI? Well, a lot of the leading trading partners out there and retailers, such as Home Depot, Target, Walmart, Amazon, require EDI, or they strongly prefer that those trading partners they do business with use EDI. In order to do business with them, you need to have a good EDI platform, which is a great segue to what we're getting to soon. EDI integration comes into play because it allows you to automate and streamline data between the transactions that the marketplace is sending you to your back-end systems. And this really increases your efficiency, your expedites the time of processing documents, and also ensures the right information is being transferred to the right system. So you're not doing things manually. And that's a really, really big point, because if you're doing things manually, especially with EDI, you can run into a ton of errors and problems, and you might not meet compliance that way. Next slide, please. So as I was saying, the benefits of EDI integration, it's really automating the back and forth data exchange between you and your retailer or marketplace. Some of the sort of the benefits are, lowering cost per document compared to manual processing by 90%. We've seen a 35% decrease in overall transaction costs, and that could be from, redoing things because you're doing things manually. And then again, a 40% reduction in transactional errors. That's where that automation comes in to sort of take that off the table. And then also a 20% increase in order to cash cycle time. Next slide, please. And with that, just that brief overview, I'm going to hand it over to Blair. Blair, take it away.
Yeah, thanks, David. I think we'll start now with the introduction to Harmony EDI. So, David talked about EDI, and obviously that's been around for a while. Many of you might know what EDI is, and what we're really trying to promote and talk about today is the introduction of Harmony EDI onto the Harmony platform. So essentially what it is, it's a cloud-based, self-managed EDI solution that's going to be fully integrated within the Harmony platform. So you'll be able to integrate this with Cloud Studio and the other applications, platform applications within Harmony itself. What this allows you to do, and not just yourself, but your entire business, is gives you full visibility of all the transactions. And we'll get into sort of the weeds and some of the functionality and feature set, documents, trading partners, testing configuration of those trading partners, and really just the management of the entire EDI lifecycle. So it's all going to be visible. Nothing's going to be hidden from you. We're providing as much information and clarity as we can for anybody using our EDI product. So what will it do? Essentially, it's going to allow customers, partners of ours to manage EDI trading partners, create those connections, select maps, and monitor those transactions. So it's going to do everything that you need to manage your EDI trading partner relationship. We have hundreds of trading partners and over 4,000 maps ready to go. So we'll go through that and explain how that works. Full transaction lifestyle from front to back, testing, different connection styles, the configuration of each trading partner. So all the things you might be familiar with for the trading partner itself. We have a full dashboard, which monitors all the document transactions, messaging, status indicators, things of that nature for the actual EDI transmission. So what we're trying to do is provide that integrated EDI. We're not trying to give you a separate solution. We want to give you a full integrated EDI solution, right from the EDI training partner piece, help you manage that internally, but also give you options to manage that throughout your applications, your ERPs, your backend operating systems, your databases, being able to not just self-manage that, but be able to test, monitor those transactions, being able to see acknowledgements, reprocessing the related documents. So if you have a shipment and an invoice, those can be related documents within the system. So being able to manage that all in one place and giving you that complete visibility while you're monitoring the transactions and giving you that peace of mind that things are going out, they're acknowledged properly, 997s are part of the process, and really allowing that to be managed across your environments. So because it's fully integrated with Harmony, you'll have the ability to split this out in a number of different ways. So you can split it out per environment, a test, a product production environment. You can have, if you have multiple segments within your business, you can split out your trading partners per business and create separate environments for those. So really, there's a lot of flexibility within the platform to allow you to set this up exactly on how you want to set it up for your different users of your system. And we'll kind of get into that now, where we're looking at the advantage to the Harmony EDI. And what we're trying to emphasize is it's effortless. So a lot of the time, EDI applications are complex. You have to know how trading partners work, how to configure the settings. We've taken that away with a very intuitive UX and design. So it's very much point and click. It's very user friendly. We have full documentation on how this works and how to configure and manage it. So we're offering you that flexibility when we're dealing with trading partners and their associated documents. So everything's lined up for you for success. With that, it's very, very flexible. So I've talked about, how you can, set this up in a number of different ways, providing you that variety of integration. So what that means for you is, you want to be compliant. You want to make sure it works with the other applications within Harmony. So Cloud Studio, APIM, Management Console. You want to make sure that you can do a full end-to-end integration. So coming from a trading partner into the system, being processed, sent to your ERP or backend system, and then producing the associated document to go back to that trading partner and get that acknowledgement. So that's all part and parcel of this solution. And what we want to do is also give you that transaction level. So your customer service team, your CSRs can track that information without necessarily being in some of the other applications or even your backend ERP, and give you that access so that your customer service team can actually see those statuses and manage that piece. Developers and admins still have full access to the integration within Harmony EDI or within Cloud Studio or Harmony itself. So that's all still fully accessible by them as well. And what we're also offering with this is the expertise. We have decades of EDI experience. So we know how trading partners work. We know how the relationships work with for testing and managing. So if there is a need for some assistance, you can lean on our expertise and have an engagement that way. We also have that that basically that ERP integration experience to accelerate the customer onboarding as well. So depending on what you're trying to do, we can offer assistance that way as well. So there's a number of things that we can do to accelerate your testing process, accelerate your onboarding. But again, this is meant for also customers that have that extensive ERP and EDI expertise, and give them a platform to manage the integration and self-manage the solution themselves. The pre-built aspects of this, I've touched on it a little bit. We have support of hundreds of training partners already in the system, thousands of maps that are already in place and available to be used. It integrates directly into the Harmony infrastructure. So all the things we've talked about previously, Cloud Studio, APIM, all those different pieces, Management Console. And we want you to leverage all the necessary tools. So we want to be able to connect everything without any third-party applications in play, making sure that this is all in-house within the Harmony architecture so that you're not relying on anything outside of that. It's all connected internally. So what this means is that you have implementation choices. You can do a self-managed solution, which means you have an internal team, you have you have the expertise in-house, you may be an advanced Harmony user, and you don't need or very little assistance is required. So there's options there. Shared management, internal technical team, but maybe you don't have EDI experience. So you know how to use Harmony, you know how the ERP works, you know that end of things, but this EDI piece is new. Maybe you're being forced into some sort of agreement with an EDI partner and you need to manage that. We can definitely help there. So, or you might just have some basic EDI knowledge, but you need to know how the testing works and whatnot. So what we're trying to emphasize here is that, for the self-managed people that customers that have a team, it's ready to go for you. If it's shared, then we have some other means to assist. And of course, your contact your SME, your AE to get more information. And as we go through this, and I'll show you the application, you'll get a better feel for how this is going to play out within the Harmony infrastructure. From an operational utilization, I touched on it a little bit, and what we're trying to emphasize here is that this has a place for everybody. Whether you're the developer and you're highly technical, you manage the EDI integration with, you'll do that integration within Cloud Studio and manage that. You may rely on the administrator for some EDI or ERP knowledge. So that's, the self-management aspect of it. Maybe you're the administrator, the business technologist, you're very technical. Maybe you manage the EDI partner relationship and setup, and you know some of the testing requirements, but you may work on with a developer and feed them some information. You might be the business owner and you have little technical experience, but you know the training partner requirements. You know that you have that relationship, you know how the warehouse works, you know how those pieces work. And that's where you would rely on the administrator and the developer to help set up and maintain those connections, but you'll assist with knowing how the ERP works. So there's a place for everybody in this infrastructure and setting up EDI. And we've set this up in a way that everybody has the tools to make them successful. And we're not going to be relying on one particular aspect of the technology to help you manage the integration and the EDI lifecycle. So really what we're trying to emphasize is working together in harmony. So we have all these pieces that we want to emphasize the work together. So whether you're using Cloud Studio as an iPaaS solution, we have a built-in EDI connector to allow access to your EDI training partners and documents, supports the get, send, and set functionality, management console, view and manage the EDI integration activities. So there will be an audit log within Management Console to see what's happening within Cloud Studio, within the integration aspect. Message queuing, so making sure that you can control when and how EDI docs are processed. So that's something you can take advantage of as well. And then EDI itself. Self-contained, self-managed, cloud-based application that has transactional data and the configuration for EDI itself, and a complete message center, which we'll get to during the demonstration. So high-level EDI capabilities, cloud-based, self-managed EDI application in the Harmony. So you'll see a tile that you'll be able to access and see and actually search for trading partners. It's something that we have available right now to see on the platform. EDI administration, so trading partners, you can add, delete, set up your own workflows, very intuitive. AS2, FTP, SFTP connections as well. You can set up your envelopes, preferred IDs, control numbers, ISA control numbers, that's all in place. And it has a full messaging center, so you can look at the full log of all activities within the Harmony system itself. EDI transactions, you can filter the status, the trading partners, the document type. So there's full search capabilities, related documents, different document views for the raw EDI to the XCBL, the XML structure as well. So for support and for looking at the different structures that we offer throughout the lifecycle of the document. And then from a security point of view, trading partners are segregated by environment. So every environment will have its own set of trading partners. Of course, you could have the same set of trading partners in multiple environments if that's how you want to break things out for testing purposes. And also all the transactions are encrypted at rest during transmission. So a highly secure transmission method as well. And everything's covered under that Harmony umbrella. So with that, I'm going to get into the Harmony EDI demo. So I'll just get out of there. And within Harmony EDI, so it is within the Jitterbit family here. So you'll see the tile in place. You'll be able to go to specifically on the admin side. You'll be presented with, once you are going in and you have access, you'll be able to go in and see, obviously this is a setup environment. Once you set things up, there's no limitation on how many trading partners you would have. So, we see everything from, 2 or 3 trading partners to 60 plus trading partners with some of our customers. So you'll be able to add those. You'll be able to do a different view. If you want to filter out, you can simply just start typing in and get a filter for a particular trading partner that you might want to see. So there are some options there to kind of fast track. You can add additional trading partners simply by selecting a trading partner and adding a trading partner, or searching for a particular trading partner as well. So they're accessible through this mechanism, and you can add trading partners. And when you add a trading partner, you'll be able to go in there and simply add a workflow. So with a trading partner, this is something that's set up. You can easily add a new workflow. Inbound, outbound documents. So inbound would be coming from the trading partner. Outbound would be coming from your backend system, from Cloud Studio through the integration. Document types. So we cover all the different document types which are available for EDI. And of course, if there's something that's not here, please let us know and we can set that up for you. Selecting the different maps, depending on the trading partner, there'll be a map that you can select, obviously 810s, 850s, 846s, things of that nature. And then if you want to have an active connection or test mode. So these are some of the settings that, you're during the demonstration and showing you how this works, we can go through and explain that. The documentation on Success Central will explain some of these settings as well. But the ease of use to go in and set up a workflow, set up a connection as easy as I just showed you with a workflow, and defining the directions, defining the document type and the map. And then once you have your workflow set up, and of course you'd be working with your trading partner to identify those particular workflows or documents that they want you to trade with them, and the direction of those documents. And that's just basically setting up the initial payload and workflow. PII is available, so we won't delve too much into that. It's something that is available to you, where you can purge documents from the system once they are archived. So it's basically a way to manage and remove documents from the system. The EDI settings are really where you're going to set up most of the EDI, and where some of you might be familiar with the EDI settings within the system. So partner IDs will be already in place, so you can set those up and select from them, or add additional partner IDs for testing purposes. The company ID will be set when you set up your ISA ID for this particular environment. So that will be something that it will prompt you when you set up a new account, and how you set that up and how you manage that. The address information can be put in here. It's not mandatory, but this will get fed through different documents when you're transferring the EDI back and forth through Cloud Studio. You can also add this data in Cloud Studio or here. Obviously, that's an option. Terms codes, a lot of this information will be in the EDI documentation, the implementation guide from the trading partner. So that can be added here. The reference information, whether these references, any of the references we have are in the implementation guide, you can put them in here and then add a description and a value according to the implementation guide. Again, that's something that's available. Control numbers are automatically set and auto incremented. And of course, if the trading partner asks you for the next control number, this is where you would find it and be able to tell them what that next control number. Usually it happens during testing of the EDI itself. Envelope information, again, would be part of the configuration and management of each trading partner. It's all separated. Again, pretty commonplace, but again, will be found in your implementation guide or from your trading partner. And then on the advanced tab, you have the option to send a 997 acknowledgement with the document or not. And again, that will be something the trading partner would communicate with you to manage. So that really breaks down just the initial settings for a trading partner. It's all right here, very intuitive, very laid out quite elegantly for everybody to manage and set up. And then the last step would be the communication settings. So communications are embedded within the platform, within Harmony EDI. It's specific per trading partner. So you can have separate FTP or SFTP or AS2 connections. You could also share them across different trading partners. And you can set up as simple as set up new information here. You can name the connection itself, make it active or inactive, set up your port, your protocol, your security type. It's all here for you. And then remote details, your download folder, upload folder, and then automation, which is something that you can set up and manage once you have the connection set up, so that you can go in and actually set up the actual time when you want to send that document. So like every hour, and have that set up so that it sends FTP or checks the FTP data on the hour and sends that out. And you can run that as obviously as daily or every 12 hours or every 15 minutes at the minimum. So that's something that can be configurable. AS2 works very much in a similar way, in similar fashion, except certain retailers and certain trading partners will only offer AS2. So that's something that is, again, embedded in the solution, and you can configure and set up all the AS2 information that you might be familiar with or get from the trading partner would be here. The HTTP authentication, encryption, the different algorithms, different signature algorithms. Certificates can be set up here and managed and generated. So if you need to upload or download a certificate or generate a new certificate, that's available to you as well, or a partner certificate. So again, this is something that I encourage you to reach out to SME and or AE and set up a demonstration to get some more information and get familiar with some of this, the different settings and different configurations. But that's really where you set up the trading partner, the administration of the trading partners, being able to do that initial setup. And then from there, once you have that initial configuration set up, obviously testing would start and you would go to your transactions. So transactions would be, I'm receiving the data and I can see that data coming in. I have this filtered on Home Depot. I can do incoming, outgoing transactions, error notifications. So when you look at the errors that are happening, specified document types that are in the particular trading partner setup. And then I could also view that data. So that data is going to come in, it's going to get transformed. You're going to be able to see it in a nice user-friendly view with the build to, ship to party, in this case, an order, any related docs for that particular order, different views. So I mentioned the views earlier, and if I go here and open the raw document, I'm going to see the raw EDI. So we do provide that to you. We also provide the XCBL, which will allow you to make those references and be able to see that data broken out into these name value pairs, so that when you go to map that data within Cloud Studio, it's an easier process. So that's all available as well. So there's a couple of views of the data itself within the system, as well as this nice view. You can also reprocess and refresh these documents. So you can reprocess a document if it fails, which we're not going to get into today, but essentially what will happen is if you send that data to Cloud Studio and it does not process properly to, let's say, a NetSuite system, you would get a status indicator, and then you'd be able to refresh that. Maybe there was a part missing or something has to be fixed or added to the integration piece within Cloud Studio, but you would have the power to reprocess that document if it failed going to the backend system from here. You wouldn't necessarily have to do that within Cloud Studio. It's basically re-queuing the data. You can also look at that document here. You can open it here instead of, so have a different view, the tab view here, instead of clicking on how I did here with the view. So there's another option to view that data if you want to have it always open and compare different documents within the same trading partner. You can also here reprocess individual documents instead of all documents, and then depending if you need to resend an acknowledgement, that's here, and also refresh a document, the entire document list. So if things are continually going through and updating statuses and whatnot, you can just hit refresh, and it'll just refresh the view and give you update status once those documents have been reprocessed or the new document comes in and the status hasn't been updated yet because it hasn't fully processed through the system. You can also search by to and from date. You can specify, last week, last day, last month, depending on, if I open this right up, I'll get a refresh view. Let me just eliminate this view here. Let's clear all these filters here. Do the all trading partners. Yep. There we go, to date. And then basically have a view of all the documents. And if I don't want to, maybe I just want to show Amazon and have that and be able to see the acknowledgements. The acknowledgements were turned on for this order from Amazon. So you'll see the 997 here and be able to view that document here or view that document from Amazon. So the other thing to note here, which I haven't touched on, is the messaging section. So you'll be able to see the messaging coming in and see a full accounting of that message itself. And if there's an acknowledgement, you'd be able to see that. If there's a tied acknowledgement, you'd be able to go in here and click on here and see that document separated, but you'll be able to see that's successful. So you get an indication that that acknowledgement was sent. You'll also be able to drill down and see some additional information, which may be necessary if you're trying to deduce what's happened with that or when that document got updated or the amount on that document. But we're trying to provide all this information for you so you can basically look at from the beginning of that process all the way through the end and be able to see all those messages or show only errors if there were any errors coming up. So we're trying to give you as much information to break down what's happened with that order or acknowledgement or whatever type of document you're dealing with within the transaction set. And again, anybody could use this and get access to it and manage it. Doesn't necessarily have to have a lot of technical knowledge or acumen. It's basically something that they can take advantage of. The last module, which I'll touch on, which is messaging, much like messaging on the document itself, you'll be able to see, sorry, I have to close some views here. You'll be able to see the messaging at a high level. So this will give you messaging for the entire system, logs, and different processes that's happening within the system. So if I go here and see, I'll be able to see a number of different transactions that have happened and be able to see if, in this case, I can see the functional acknowledgements disabled. If I click off there and just say Fastenal, I'll just be able to see the Fastenal specific error messages or documents. If I look at just errors, I can see that and be able to see, I think I cited one here, process ended, FTP, 0 files to manage. Here's the FTP starting up and be able to connect and see that information here, total time for the process to run. So again, we're trying to give you that clarity and all the messaging within the system and be able to, track down those particular either problem sets or just to verify that information did go out in case the trading partner did require verification of when that document went out or when it got processed. So this is important information that would be available to you. And of course, it has full search from two dates, much like the transaction set. So if you need to, if you have hundreds or thousands of different different documents and trading partner documents going through, you'd be able to filter out those that information quickly and efficiently. So the last thing I wanted to touch on, we've talked about the admin side of things, we've talked about the transaction side of things, and we talked about the messaging. And then we had the last piece, which is really connecting that information. Once you have the configuration, you have some test data in there from your trading partner, how do you get that into Cloud Studio? Because Cloud Studio has a connector for Harmony EDI. So it has these functionalities or functions within it. And then you'll set up just like a regular connector within Cloud Studio, but you'll be connecting to Harmony and retrieving that data. So if I go here and refresh this view, I'm going to be able to retrieve the trading partners that are included within that environment that I'm currently in. So you'll see all the related documents, and we've talked about cumbersome Home Depot. That was our example. Then I can go next, and what's going to do is retrieve the documents that I've set up, those workflows. And in this case, it's an inbound document coming in, and I'll be able to select that order. So that's all going to be here, very intuitive. And then it becomes a process of mapping that data and transforming that data over. So anybody familiar with how our other connectors work, how the infrastructure within and the breakdown of data within Harmony and Cloud Studio works, will be familiar with that. And obviously we've shown you the raw EDI, the XCVL data, the name value pairs. You'll be able to piece that information together to be able to get that information and be able to make an assessment and start to integrate that data into the Harmony system. And again, something I encourage people to do is reach out to the SMEs and to the to your AEs to have a demonstration and be able to show that information go through. But you can see here that we've broken it down, and you'll be able to see that information and the reference numbers and the currencies and any date qualifiers and party IDs and things of that nature that are associated with the document itself. And then you'll be able to go in and finish up and then do the transformation and those different pieces that you're all used to if you are familiar with Harmony, and write that information to XML or read that information, transform that, send it to something like NetSuite. So that's everything that I wanted to go through today. I think that gives you a really good high-level view of where we're trying to go, what we're trying to do, and manage things within Harmony and connect and bring together all the applications to give you those business efficiencies that we've talked to and Dave was referring to earlier in the call. So
awesome. Thank you, Blair. So I think we have a couple questions before we end today's session. So how many trading partners can you support at once?
There's no limit. Obviously, I touched on it a little bit today, where You might want to separate them depending on your business setup, and obviously how many training partners and whatnot you want to manage in one environment. So a lot of our customers do split out projects already. So you do the same thing or assess, but there's not a limitation on how many training partners you can set up in a single environment or so.
Okay. I think we have one more here. Can I set up the same trading partner in a production and test environment?
Yes, you can.
Very simple. Awesome.
Yep.
Okay, and then here we go. Does Jitterbit EDI allow email notifications for transaction log entries such as errors or inbound 850 files?
So you will get error notifications within Cloud Studio once you set those up from the ERP side. Email notifications are coming. It's on the roadmap. So that's something that's going to be configured and available in the coming quarters.
Okay, thank you for that question. And then, are you able to handle communication between trading partners?
Without knowing the specific communication, so obviously the communication that we laid out was FTP, SFTP, AS2. That would be a direct communication from the training partner to Harmony EDI, which would be you and the Harmony. But from training partner to training partner, obviously, if they had FTP, I think that would be a particular use case, depending on how that plays out, that you'd want to talk to your AE or CSM person to kind of and get an expert to kind of lay out how that would be set up.
Awesome. Okay, and how does Jitterbit EDI handle onboarding of new trading partners not already in the system?
So as of right now, requests. Obviously, if you're going through the process, you can make a request to support. We would set up that training partner with those maps for you and let you know when those are set up and that they would be available on the platform. Again, we're working on some enhancements to the platform down the road that would allow for the creation of a trading partner within the system. So as of right now, you would make the request. Like I said, we have hundreds of trading partners already. All the major players are in the system. And we have, like I said, over 4,000 maps associated with those. So chances are the trading partner would exist, but if you search and you can't find it, definitely contact your CSM or AE, and we can make accommodations if you're interested to get those set up. And it doesn't take very long to set those up either. So
I think that's it. Thank you so much for those questions, and thank you so much for joining us today. We will post a recording of this, an on-demand version of this later in the week. I dropped a link to the new webpage that gives a high-level view of some of the things you've heard today in the chat here. Oh, we have one more. How is the licensing model for Jitterbit EDI?
So and again, I'm not a salesperson, but the licensing model, it works exactly the same as Harmony EDI. So as long as you have a Harmony license, you have access to Harmony. It's simply another application. There are separate costs associated with, obviously, depending on how many training partners you want and the connection types associated with those. But the licensing model, the license for Harmony covers the actual access to Harmony EDI. But again, I would ask to reach out to your CSM or AE, and they can kind of explain how things break down, and everybody has different needs and different levels of needs for EDI integration and which training partners you have or which ones need to be added. So that's something that can be discussed.
Okay. When is the Jitterbit Harmony EDI available for partners?
So it would be available today. Again, I would have a conversation with a CSM or your A or your partner person so we can go through and explain how things would work with Harmony EDI and how you would work that into a partnership. But it is available starting. It's rolling out as of yesterday. today in the different regions, and North America will be Wednesday. So by Thursday, Friday, everybody that has a Harmony account will see the tile, and it's gated, so you can't use or set up trading partners, but you can search for trading partners. And again, there'll be a message saying that you can contact your CSM. And so this is basically the initial release, and we're kind of giving access to users as we have conversations with them.
Okay, I don't see any more questions. If there's something that you didn't get answered today, like Blair said, please reach out to your AE or contact us directly. And with that, thank you so much, Blair. Again, there will be an on-demand version available for you later on in the week. And with that, have a good day.